I can dare say this is the only country on the face of the earth where black, brown, white, polka dotted all have equal opportunity. They can make it.
Of course, I have to.
Briefly. Yeah.
I have to respond.
Briefly.
Minister Farrakhan, I've been reading the NAACP reports and the National Urban League reports, and recently I was reading in the Washington Post where Dr. Kenneth Clark, one of our greats, was now lamenting over the fact that he has found that America is indeed separate and unequal, and that he has lived his entire life fighting for integration. Would you please, for these few moments, to the blacks who are listening in the audience, speak of a black united front and how we can begin to pull our people together?
Certainly, the lady who raised the point that America is a great land of opportunity, we can't deny that America has given everyone who has come opportunity. But to the blacks who built this, I suggest to you, miss, you are not qualified to speak for us. You are not qualified to speak for us. You are only qualified to represent yourself and your opinion. But really, those of us who have suffered this, we know what we're talking about. Now I would like to just address...
I would like to know, as a mother and a grandmother, what can we do to instill in our children coming up? The older ones, we can't do anything with them, but the little ones is coming out. What can we do as mothers to help? Because we can't leave America. We have our roots here. We would like to stay, but we would like to make it a better America.
If we wish to make our children better, one of the things we have to do is to teach them the knowledge of themselves. As a little boy, my blessed mother kept instilling in me the love and the pride of being black. She made me to know my history, to know my roots. So I grew up with a love for myself and secure within myself, never feeling inferior and certainly not feeling superior, but that chip on the shoulder that the young lady spoke about is my self-assurance, my confidence, my ability to speak the truth without fear. I don't bend when I don't have to. I don't scratch where I don't itch. I look white people in the eye and speak honestly and truthfully and candidly and unhypocritically to you. That's not a chip. That's just self-assurance that comes from self-knowledge. Teach your children that, and whether we are here or there, we'll be able to make a future for ourselves.
Well, now, out of curiosity, I just want to ask, has America really improved? And when I talk about improvement, it is in a sense of, integration, racial equity, and fairness. Has it really? And I'm asking this because there are some conversations that really open your sight to a different perspective, because, you see there are many white people walking around with this belief, with this confidence that America has already given black people equal chances and equal opportunities and even an even playing field. And they believe that racism is long over. And they think that the past has nothing to do with the present today. They assume, I believe they assume that just because they don't feel the burden of the system, nobody else should be complaining. These are actually the same people who really believe there's no point in talking about racial oppression, racial unfairness, racial equity, racial injustice. Because to them, talking about such things is actually what racism is all about. See, these are the people who forget that just because you don't talk about oppression doesn't magically make the oppression disappear. But it is this kind of thinking that exposes something deeper. It is a complete lack of awareness of reality, that there are millions of people especially people of color, facing this system designed against them every single day. Now, it begs the question that maybe from the late 1990s, I want to ask you, has America really truly improved when it comes to integration, racial equity, equal access? Yeah? Has it changed? What has changed? What hasn't changed? What has gotten better or what has gotten worse, if any? Do share with me what you think in the comment section below. But before that, I want us to watch this clip, and we'll be back with a good commentary.
Let's take a look at Minister Farrakhan addressing the African American Summit meeting in New Orleans. Here you are telling what you believe with just a bit more energy than you opened the Donahue show. Here's what you said to a predominantly black audience in New Orleans.
Why should our people have to subsist on charity or live in poor houses when we built the country for you, fought, bled, and died to maintain the country for you? You ask us to pay taxes like everybody else. Wait a minute, we don't get justice. We give you our tax dollar to support a police department that doesn't respect us. We give you our tax dollar to support education that does not educate us properly. We give you our tax dollars. You spend $4 billion each year on Israel to maintain Israel in a welfare position. You send billions of dollars. You rebuilt Germany. You rebuilt Japan. Here we are, fought, bled, and died, made you what you are. What are you willing to come on down with to help the black man rebuild himself?
You know what I think? I think you've given up.
Given up on what?
On the ideal of an integrated America, the dream of Martin Luther King. I think you've given up. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck now. I'm telling you honestly that I think you've given up.
If I may respond, the Kerner Commission, established by President Johnson in 1967, said that there were two societies, one black, one white, one rich, one poor. And the Kerner Commission gave specific recommendations that had to be followed if America believed in integration. 20 years after that, a group of scientists got together to see what the progress was. And the progress is that we have a larger middle class, but the masses of black people have gone backward. And the country is not only separate and unequal, but in worse condition today than it was then. So I don't think, Mr. Donahue, you should put it on me that I've given up. America has never believed in integration. Never. Never.
Mr. Farrakhan, I can't really stand up and jump up and down and say, shame on you for this feeling. I really can't. The evidence is overwhelming. Overwhelming. 1 in 4 black males either in jail or under the tutelage of the prison system. And so I'm here to say that it hurts me to think about this, but I think I have a responsibility to understand how a lot of smart people would get to this place. America is not interested in integration. If that's the case, why are you even bothering to suggest that you're interested in it? Why not make your statement more in fact and without qualification? And if America has not been interested in integration, I assume you feel it never will be, certainly not in your lifetime. So why don't you proceed then from that point of view and tailor your speeches accordingly?
It's deeper than that, Mr. Donahue. We have a stake here. We have helped to build this country. When the Civil War broke out, supposedly, Mr. Lincoln wanted to free the slaves, but according to his own words, he really didn't care whether America had slaves or not. He really wanted to save the Union. Black soldiers fought on the side of the North and the South. The Union was saved, but we were not.
Yeah.
We have done what every citizen should do, but we have gotten nothing from it. So America is in trouble. And we believe we have a solution to the problem. And if the solution is good for black people, it's good for America.
Yeah. With time fleeting, what is the solution?
If we are already separate but unequal, and there is not the will on the part of the United States government, nor is there a national will to reconcile the differences between black and white.
If. You don't believe there is.
No, I don't.
All right. Well,
I really don't.
Okay, let's not qualify it then.
But when I say if, I'm speaking now for those who might think there is that possibility.
Well, why mollify them?
Huh?
Why
Well,
patronize them? Why
because
accommodate them if
I
that's not what you feel?
I don't wish for them at this point to feel that their thinking is discredited. But if in the course of this discourse and in the face of the overwhelming evidence that America really doesn't want black people, then look, let's tally up what is owed to us. Let's sit down and talk about a just solution, and I tell you, like Moses said to Pharaoh, let us go and do something for ourselves.
Okay, so let me understand this now. We're going to come up with several billion, I assume, huh?
I don't think this is the appropriate forum.
Well, no, I'm just trying
discuss.
to. I don't either, but I'm just trying to find out. Reparations not unlike, but certainly more substantial than those that were voted for the Japanese who were interned in World War II, money which incidentally has yet to be forthcoming to them, approved but not expended. Okay, I get that. Now, where are you going? Are you going then back to the homeland? Are you going back to the African continent? Is that your idea?
You know, again, all of these black people here have a stake here. We have a stake here, I think, that is more valid than those who just came here a few days, a few years ago. These are the children of those who built this. So, yes, we can go there or we can stay here. If we stay here, then why not separate and give to the children of those who built this country land and reparations that we may go and do something for ourselves. Now, I did mention, however, that there is the possibility of some of us returning to Africa. Africa is in need of the scholarship that we have gained from our sojourn in America. And just as England let go some of her convicts who had no hope, languishing in prisons, to help build this, and just as Britain let go of her convicts to build Australia and New Zealand, we have 609,000 black young men behind prison bars with no hope at all. Since we have the ability to reform them, let us reform them. Give us our title. Look, wait, just 1 minute. Since Africa had a part in our coming here, for it was some African brothers of ours who helped to sell us. And there were some Arabs who had a part in it. There were some Jews who had a part in it. There were some Europeans who had a part in it, but the death blow was dealt by the slave masters here in what is called now the United States. So since we didn't give up our right to Africa, then why should not we petition our own kith and kin to set apart for the children of the slaves certain land and territory that some of us, particularly those who have no hope whatsoever in the society, let them go to begin to build a new reality for themselves and for their people.
In the homeland, in the land from which their kith and kin originated, and from which they came. Now, those who choose not then to go to Africa.
Again, they have as much right here as you do.
Well, but wait a minute. We've got a deal here. We're letting people out of jail.
Yeah.
Well, that does complicate it just a little bit. Where do I, assuming that not all the brothers will wish to return to Africa, obviously I do not presume to speak for them, but it's not unreasonable to assume that not all of them want to go. Is it your notion that there should be an area within the continental United States to establish a nation, a separate nation?
If we agree that these brothers and sisters of ours can't get any justice within the social, political, and economic order that you call the United States.
You said if.
Why
you don't think they can.
Why shouldn't we be separated in a state or territory of our own?
Because then there's this imaginary line. You get some sheriff down there chewing mail pouch, and we've discussed this before.
But look,
all of a sudden somebody starts holding hands with somebody else at the drive-in theater, and then the racist words are heard in the night, and there goes the neighborhood. Come on, you can't possibly expect.
You can't trivialize the cry for justice. Right. Now, it was not impossible for England, France, America, and the United Nations to take land from the Palestinians and settle Jews in a state of their own, giving hope to oppressed Jews all over the world. Why should there be this trivialization of a desire on the part of black people, since we have not made it here, to go and do something for ourselves? We as black people have to provide a future for our people, for the government and white people are not providing a future for us. So it is wrong for us to stay around laying at the foot of white people like the Bible's Lazarus, begging for crumbs that fall from their table when we can go and make a table of our own.
Minister Farrakhan, when you suggest, I'll just take a minute here, when you suggest that I trivialize your proposal, you speak to an attitude that I didn't present, far from trivializing it. I am merely asking you to consider the consequences of an isolated island of African Americans within the community that we now call the United States of America. And you use the state of Israel to support your notion and its practical possibilities. And yet you feel that Israel was immoral and unfair to Palestinians in its declaration of statehood in 1948.
But
so
you had the will to take land from Palestinians. We have a more natural right to land in Africa or land here than the Jews had to Palestine.
Okay.
And if you could do that for them, sir, with all due respect, why is it so silly to think that we now should be some isolated ghetto? We can be isolated in the ghetto, but we can't be together in unity.
I didn't say
building a nation. No, you didn't say that, but I'm saying it. You think that we're going off into some isolation.
Well, where will it be? Where will it be? You want?
Well, that's something we have to discuss.
Yeah.
We have to negotiate that.
Yeah. Yeah. May I ask you for some brief commentary on this before our break this audience wants in here? You agree with Ronald Reagan that the welfare state creates a slave mentality, do for me, and is a kind of sleeping pill for the recipients, regardless of color. Do I understand you correctly?
You understand Mr. Reagan correctly. But a welfare mentality was created when my fathers and mothers were made slaves and robbed of the knowledge of themselves and dependent totally on a slave master for food, clothing, and shelter. So that when we were so-called set free by the 13th Amendment, we didn't have the mentality of a free people to go and do for ourselves. So we turned right back around and volunteered our services for not free labor, but so close to free labor. So now Mr. Reagan says, we don't want welfare because it leads to dependence. We already have been made dependents, but he uses that as an excuse to cut back on what he was already giving to the people and then never providing the safety net that he said he would put under those that he cut off. That is injustice, and it only compounds the evil.
In your interview with the Washington Post, you said, among other things, some Jews, and they shared with their readers the entire transcript, everything you said.
No.
No?
Oh,
they edited it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, well.
But I can't say that these are not my words. And
No,
I thank the Post for what they did.
Over a full page.
But my interview would have been probably 6 pages.
Okay. Some Jews have been, you say, some Jews have been responsible for characterizing black people as clowns and buffoons, using the movie industry to get that message over. This is a dialogue you're having. You say you on an island with Brock Peters, he's shooting a movie and a Jewish producer. I don't, did he tell you he was Jewish, or did you just...
Oh, yes, sir.
He said, I'm Jewish producer. You make the point that he says to you, you know, when we feel some danger, when we feel something, we get together and we essentially create screenwriters. The creative community does things to ensure, to set things right. You're suggesting that the guy felt he could manipulate, and you believe he could too. You're coming very close to saying that you know, that Jews control the media.
Oh.
But I want you to answer me this. Some Jews have been responsible for characterizing black people as clowns and buffoons, using the movie industry to get that message over. What do you think of Eddie Murphy?
Okay.
Let me just remind this audience, this is the #1 box office star in the wealthiest free market democratic system in the history of the universe.
Eddie Murphy is my brother.
Yes.
And I love him as a brother. And whatever criticism I have for Eddie Murphy, I would say that directly to him, and I wouldn't use this show to do that. But I think it's not to be diminished to Eddie Murphy. But if you look at the black man's self-image, the black woman's self-image, that image is created for us through centuries of miseducation. Now, if I, as a black person, or we as black person, do not have a healthy respect for ourselves, then we cannot expect anyone else to show respect for us unless we have respect for ourselves. But we cannot respect what we don't know. And so there's a crime of omission and a crime of commission that robbed black people of a knowledge of self that would cause us to love ourselves and love one another.
So you're not thrilled then with, for example, the kind of stand-up work that I'm mother effer, nigger. He uses the word nigger often. I'm asking you.
No, I am not thrilled to see not only Eddie Murphy, but there are many white comedians who use the same foul language and feed the American public as though the American public are human pigs who can only feel good when somebody is purveying filth and decadence over the radio, the television, and through the movies. And I think whether it's black or white, it is wrong, and it is bringing America down, down, down. And personally, I would hope that managers and those in show business would use our God-given talent in a much better way than to promote filth and decadence. I think that America has too much of that, and again, she's in trouble because of it.
And we'll be back in just a moment. Yes, ma'am. You'll be brief, I know.
I am so sick and tired of this chip that you're carrying on your shoulder. We have bent over backwards. We have done backflips to make you feel equal. And yet, we've done everything. A perfect example is in the federal government. If you and I get the exact same rating for a position, do you know what? You get it. And do you know why? Because you're black. Is that fair? Is that fair to me?
Briefly, do you want to speak to that?
There is a woeful lack of understanding, not only in the black community, but really in the white community, of why black people are in the condition that we're in, and why all of the efforts that whites have made and government has made to try to solve the problem in the way that government sees fit has not really worked. And blacks are still crying out for more and more and more. And I realize that this is an irritant to white people because you really don't understand. And it's not really your fault. It's not really your fault, you just don't understand. But I think if you gave yourself a chance to hear what happened to these black people that makes them as they are as an irritant to you and those who think you have done the best you could. And maybe you have, but I respectfully suggest to you that there's so much more that could be done, that should be done, and that must be done if America is to survive. Believe me.
Esquire magazine, on your stand now, an outfit I have no personal interest or professional monetary interest in. Pete Hamill writes about racism going to college. Brown University, the alma mater of Amy Carter, a highly regarded institution. Niggers go home was found in an elevator, a sign. Men and women were crossed out in lavatory doors, replaced by whites and niggers. The Ku Klux Klan is recruiting at Brown University. This is not to embarrass Brown. It is to say that anybody who thinks we've gotten somewhere is not reading the newspaper. Yes.
I would like to know, as a mother and a grandmother, what can we do to instill in our children coming up? The older ones, we can't do anything with them, but the little ones is coming out. What can we do as mothers to help? Because we can't leave America. We have our roots here. We would like to stay, but we would like to make it a better America.
If we wish to make our children better, one of the things we have to do is to teach them the knowledge of themselves. As a little boy, my blessed mother kept instilling in me the love and the pride of being black. She made me to know my history, to know my roots. So I grew up with a love for myself and secure within myself, never feeling inferior and certainly not feeling superior, but that chip on the shoulder that the young lady spoke about is my self-assurance, my confidence, my ability to speak the truth without fear, I don't bend when I don't have to. I don't scratch where I don't itch. I look white people in the eye and speak honestly and truthfully and candidly and unhypocritically to you. That's not a chip. That's just self-assurance that comes from self-knowledge. Teach your children that, and whether we are here or there, we'll be able to make a future for ourselves.
And we'll be back in just a moment. Sir.
I'd like to, first of all, welcome Minister Farrakhan to New York City. My name is Dennis Raheem Watson from the National Black Youth Leadership Council. On behalf of black youth at colleges and universities all across the nation, high schools, elementary schools, who look up to you for divine leadership, for spiritual leadership, for representing all of the aspirations of our grandmothers and ancestors who made us be all that we can be.
Question is?
This is not a question. This is just a level of applause and commendation for one of the greatest minds we have on the planet Earth. You need America. You don't need America. America needs you. You are the salvation, and I applaud you.
Well, I'd just like to say thank you for the words, but, you know, we need this too. And if it's mutual need, then there can be mutual cooperation to find a solution to a problem that is bringing all of America down. See? So let's try to find a way that we can dialogue. Blacks and Jews and blacks and whites. I am not against a relationship, but it just can't be the master-slave relationship. That's all over.
But you can't. I assume, given the fallout that ensued in your description of Judaism as a dirty religion, will move you never to use that phrase again.
I think someone in the audience said it right. Shame, shame, shame.
Shame on who?
On you.
On me?
Yes, because you keep repeating the big lie. The lie that's told over and over and over and over again.
No, I have said over and over again. I have no...
Until Jews and blacks and others believe that I actually said that. Let me...
You didn't say that?
No, I did not.
Now you're going to accuse me of taking this out of context,
no,
aren't
I'm
you?
not either.
I'm going to play your own voice. I did this before. You're accusing me of taking it out of context. This is cut. This is number 3. Let me just say, Minister Farrakhan,
Sure.
I don't get any... This is no joy to be going around the block with you again on this. But when you smile...
No joy to me either.
Well, but when you smile, it conveys a kind of, oh, stop worrying about this. I know what I meant. This is not the precision of language that we would expect from a man whose mind is so admired by the last person who stood up. Well, now let's, here we go again. Roll the tape. Here is your voice and the words graphic.
He will never have any peace because there can be no peace structured on injustice, thievery, lying, and deceit, and using the name of God to shield your dirty religion under his holy and righteous name.
To shield your gutter religion under his holy and righteous name.
Now,
What? You said that. That's your voice.
I want to say that no sane, intelligent, religious person could ever condemn the revealed word of God from the source of purity as dirty or gutter or unclean. The word of God comes to people in the gutter to purify their actions and their conduct and cause them to live upright. But religion is not what we preach. Religion was and is what we practice, and that's why Moses told Israel, obey the law and statutes and commandments that I give you this day. Jesus said, be ye doers of the word and not just hearers of the word, and Muhammad taught that mere belief counts for nothing except that it is carried into practice. I close this, and I hope I never have to answer this again. Black people are in this country because so-called Christians, not practicing the true word of Jesus Christ, were practicing a dirty religion. Some so-called Muslims were involved in the slave trade and in some wicked dealings in Africa, not doing what the prophet said, but practicing dirty religion.
So Muslim...
And I said, sir, that Israel practiced dirty religion, taking the land from the Palestinians, using lying, thieving, and murder, and the name of God as a shield for their dirty practice in the name of God. And this is a travesty in religion.
Yeah. You never in your life used the phrase dirty religion when referring to Muslims.
Not in that context.
Never before.
Please,
did you ever say that a Muslim, did you ever refer to their dirty religion?
Of course. Of course. There's too much hypocrisy in religion.
All right, let's talk about this
and
then.
That's why the world is in the condition that it's in.
Mr. Farrakhan, sir, you are drawing thousands and thousands of people in your public appearances. You have the cops, and you claim the FBI and the CIA is on your case, and I wouldn't doubt that myself. We have a responsibility. Media's responsibility is to figure this person out. Wow. You powerful. Look at this crowd here. You're a powerful man. You can draw a crowd. You're also a religious fundamentalist. Doesn't make you bad, but that's what you are. And you also had this to say about a black reporter for the Washington Post who quoted Jesse Jackson as using the word Hymietown. Tell me why you're upset about this. Here is Mr. Farrakhan talking about Milton Friedman.
You can do better.
Here is, I'm sorry, Milton Coleman. Roll the tape. Listen to this.
Why are you example of Milton Coleman? One day soon we will punish you with death because you are interfering with the future of our babies for white people and against the good of yourself and your own people. This is a fitting punishment for such dogs.
Now, come on. Does that make you proud?
Yes.
Does the man have a responsibility to speak to this?
Of course.
Then why? Then tell your people then to be...
Then let me speak to it. Now, if you would be honest, that tape was cut up and pieced together. Just a minute. Oh, just a minute.
You didn't say?
Just a minute.
Say he should be
just
killed?
a minute. You know, it's interesting how white folk sit here thinking that I have a reason to lie to you as though you are so powerful and you are so wonderful and I'm so ashamed of my words that I have to twist and turn. Please, you're not dealing with that kind of man. You're dealing with a man who means what he says and says what he means. Now listen, put that in context of a campaign where Jesse Jackson was trying to be the first man to be nominated from the Democratic Party to be the president of the United States. He made a statement off the record to a black reporter. And that black reporter gave that statement to a white reporter, and it came out in the Washington Post, and from that day, poor Jesse started slipping in the polls with white people. And so I took Milton Coleman to task. I referred to him in the language of a traitor. I referred to him, and these are the actual words. I said that that man should be ostracized from us. When he comes to church, tell him, you're not wanted until you repent. This is what I said. And then I said, one day, soon, When we have a nation, we will punish our traitors with death like you punish yours. Now, just a minute, let me finish. I talked to Milton Coleman. I want you to know this, Phil, and your audience. I talked to Milton Coleman by telephone right after it came out in the press that I threatened his life. And when I said to Milton, Milton, I did not threaten your life, nor your children's, nor your wife's. Milton said to me, Farrakhan, if you will go before the public and say that, I'll sit down and talk with you. I said, Milton, I'll do one better than that. I said, I'll be on Nightline tonight, and I will say it on national television. He said, where will you meet with me? I said, I'll meet with you anywhere you want to meet. And Milton said, will you meet me at the Washington Post? I said, yes. I went on Nightline and made that statement. And the next day I called Milton Coleman, and Milton Coleman told me that the people at the Washington Post forbid him from seeing me. That was 6 years ago, and the other day I sat in front of Milton Coleman at the Washington Post. For the first time in 6 years, I brought it up and scolded these white folk who kept me from reconciling a difference with my brother. You cry about how joyful it is that the walls are tumbling down in Germany, but you are busy erecting walls, keeping brothers from coming together with their own.
And we'll be back in just a moment. Yes, ma'am.
You constantly speak of injustice in the country. Look at the injustice that you're doing to these people. Let America be the way it should be. What do you want to separate everyone for? What is the purpose of that? That's not this country.
Not my time, please. First, miss, you said let America be what it should be. Should is the conditional. And the conditions now, ma'am, the conditions are that America is separate. You have 2 million Indians on reservations, Indian women being sterilized. You have 30 million blacks unemployed, unemployable.
Whites and Jews
but
and
look,
all different kinds of people, not just blacks.
Miss, I got to say this. Listen. Miss, Jews have organizations and leaders looking out for their concerns. Whites have organizations and leaders looking out for their concerns. As a black person, I reserve the right to look out for the concerns of my own people. And if we all look out for the concerns of our people and do justice by our people and by one another, then possibly America might be conditionally what you think it ought to be, but I really don't think you got that amount of time.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I can dare say this is the only country on the face of the earth where black, brown, white, polka dotted all have equal opportunity. They can make it.
I have to.
Briefly.
Yeah. I have to respond.
Briefly.
Minister Farrakhan, I've been reading the NAACP reports and the National Urban League reports, and recently I was reading in the Washington Post where Dr. Kenneth Clark, one of our greats, was now lamenting over the fact that he has found that America is indeed separate and unequal, and that he has lived his entire life fighting for integration. Would you please, for these few moments, to the blacks who are listening in the audience, speak of a black united front and how we can begin to pull our people together?
Certainly, the lady who raised the point that America is a great land of opportunity, we can't deny that America has given everyone who has come opportunity. But to the blacks who built this, I suggest to you, miss, you are not qualified to speak for us. You are not qualified to speak for us. You are only only qualified to represent yourself and your opinion. But really, those of us who have suffered this, we know what we're talking about. So now I would like to just address
I'll give you
this
an
point.
opportunity in just a moment. Yes, who wants it? Yes.
I just want to say that I'm so scared to go around the world next year because I was never a prejudiced person until I'm listening to you. It's really scary hearing what you're saying. I'm very scared. You're not preaching.
My dear young lady, when you go out into the world, you're going to find a reality that you're going to have to deal with. Please don't live in a fantasy world created by television. There's a very real world out there.
I was raised to be white, black. I was raised to be equal to anyone. Listening to you, you are so prejudiced. I just can't believe it. I am shocked. You're scaring me.
Mr. Farrakhan, I sit here and I'm seething. The things that you're saying only divides us.
Well, what is it that he said that makes you angry?
I don't like what you say about Jews or any other people. These things that you... And when you look at us, you're not...
talking about Jews. He's talking about an abasement of their religion
Phil,
by
excuse
some
me.
people.
Excuse me. What you're doing is Just a moment. You have been sitting there for an hour and you've been snickering and sneering at us.
Yes.
We don't look at you that way. We're giving you the respect the full hour to listen. You're not Martin Luther King, who brought us together. I could listen to him forever, but you're dividing us.
Well, since I have 1 minute, I really thank you for the privilege of speaking to you and with you. I would hope that we as black people would come together and form a united front to deal with the problems that confront us. And then I would hope that whites would actually begin to know more about the condition that you are totally oblivious to. The Kerner report said that most whites know nothing really about what it is like to live in the ghetto.
Now, Minister Louis Farrakhan here is pointing out something, and what many people really will want to refuse to acknowledge or are just generally ignorant about, and that is America's core problem is not simply interpersonal differences, interpersonal racism. No, it is not just ignorant individuals or hateful people. It is the real problem is the foundation that the country is built upon. A capitalist system that requires inequality to survive or to thrive, you know. And America, in America, inequality has always been racial. And you could talk about maybe class, the rich and the poor, but even class and race have become very intertwined. Okay, so capitalism by design actually widens the gap between the rich and the poor. But when the rich majority is overwhelmingly white and the poor majority is overwhelmingly black, then the economic gap becomes racial in that sense. And if you ask how, so every time the gap widens, you know, it's not just the poor that are falling behind. It is the black people that are the majority of them who make up the majority of poor people that are falling behind. And the rich aren't just getting richer. It is white wealth that is expanding generationally, systematically, structurally, and institutionally. So when we ask, has America really improved? We can't look at speeches, slogans, or just performative gestures, you know, I can do this, we shall do this, America needs to do this. No, we have to look at the material reality and ask the questions like, who owns the wealth? Who owns the land? Who owns the corporations? the many corporates in America, who owns them? Who controls the media? Who controls political decisions, the political waves? Who get policed? Who gets incarcerated? Mass incarceration. Who are the victims? You know, who gets loans approved faster and at, you know, what amounts? Who inherits wealth? Who has a lot more generational wealth to benefit from? Who gets denied housing, or who gets easier, better access to housing? Those are the real questions that will answer the whole of, you know, this conundrum. And who gets blamed for consequences of a system that is basically designed against them? And, you know, this is where we also have to confront another truth. And this is about administration and leadership and the governments, you know, Democrat or Republican has, you know, they have been really, I feel like maybe what have they done to better the situation? They have been avoided taking real action to dismantle this imbalance. There have been many presidents from both sides, but what have they done in their regimes to dismantle the structure of imbalance? You know, they will talk about unity, about fairness, about progress, about, you know, equity and, you know, whatever. But the system still remains untouched since the inception, you know, because touching it means risking the power of those that benefit from it. Or perhaps we should say the power of those who control, who pull the strings from, you know, behind the scenes. Because you see also, when we even talk about the president, there are many people around the presidency who have more power. You know, around the presidency is where more power lies than even the individual himself or herself. Sometimes the president is powerless because there is a lot more to the presidency than just the man or the woman you see in the White House, for example. There are many people who fund, and they fund the presidency or campaign trails for, you know, economic gain when their candidates eventually wins. And they have a lot more power to swing what the government really does. This is not even just the case of America, but across, you know, the world. So the question isn't simply, are Black people treated better today? The real question is, has America ever genuinely been willing to create true racial fairness? And most importantly, why is the burden always placed on Black people to adjust, to forgive, to improve, to assimilate, to survive, to not talk about things that they feel are oppressive, while the problem, the core problem, the problem itself, which is the system, remains unchanged, untouched? You see? So let's go to another important truth, perhaps. And Black people have built a massive stake in America. Nobody can take that away from them. From the foundation of the economy, to the culture, to the military, to inventions, to the labor that literally and practically built that country. Black people have contributed more to America than America has ever admitted or has ever even dared to pay them. So when some people try to shame Black Americans who consider sometimes leaving the country, moving to Africa or moving anywhere else, it's actually laughable. Because mobility is a right. Choices are rights, are just a right. And after building a nation, literally, Black people don't need permission to stay, to live, to return, to invest, to explore, to do anything. They have all the stake. Now, I'm not basically a person who really romanticizes and advocates that Black people should leave America. Leave to where? These are people who build it. This is their country. They have a stake if all they have done for this country is not enough to give them a free pass to be recognized, to be accepted in that country, even those that call themselves American don't have as much stake as what blacks have. So if all that doesn't warrant them to be recognized as really they should be there, then nothing should. So basically, from where I stand, I believe black people who want to move to Africa or anywhere else should be at their disposal when they feel like, but not because the system tries to guilt them to feel like they don't deserve to be there. Not at all. But even then, the debate, the core debate, the harder question is, the real debate is, has America given black people what is owed? And has America honored the contribution of black people? Has America allowed black people a full stake politically, economically, socially? Has it? Has America created a true equality in all dimensions? If the answer is no, which I personally believe it is, then the solution must go beyond conversations, beyond optics and representations. It is structural change of the system in wealth distribution, in education, in justice, in policing, in housing, everything. The whole system needs a change, needs an overhaul. Because until America fixes its system, not its slogans, black inequality will continue to be manufactured and reproduced generation after generation, because it is a system that needs to be changed. It's not about telling people not to talk about it, not to talk about racial unfairness or racial fairness. No, it is about working to provide fairness. Because when we don't talk about oppression, it doesn't disappear. It thrives. Yeah, so we've come to the end of this particular video. Do share with me your thoughts in the comment section below, what you have learned, what you agree or disagree in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, if you like this kind of content. Share it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next.